Well, welcome back. I'm Steve from offthegridinoz.com again. Yes, I have thrown my phone camera to the shithouse and I'm swapping to my Canon, which has all the bits. Yes, this is already good. Anyway, look, it's 45 degrees here. It's bloody hot and it's blowing a bit of a gale, so I thought I'd sit down and just do a little bit of a talk about the politics of off the grid. As much as you might want to look at my freaking TV, no, I doubt that. I'm just using the pictures just to keep you amused whilst I rattle. People who move off grid think about a lot of things, and I constantly go on about thinking things through. One thing that probably really does need to be discussed is the politics behind off-grid living. Politics can be quite messy, politics can be complicated, politics encompass things like law. Now, you'll probably find from day one the things like your family members might go, oh, you're moving off grid, wow, yucky, 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 and you'll hear every naysayer on the planet go, yeah, well, and you'll hear a few people probably pat you on the back, but the majority won't understand what you're doing. That's one part, that's personal politics, you know, the family politic. In, unfortunately, the real world, once you move off grid, you tend to fall into another bracket, another category that these days is accepted maybe a little bit more, but in so many cases, and in a lot of cases, is frowned upon by the authorities. Now, where we are in central Victoria, a lot of people go off grid with the ye old caravan, ye old lean-to, ye old tin shed. Lots of people live in tin sheds. And that's fine. From my point of view and from your point of view, yep, that's fine. But at the end of the day, your local council, your local member, your local building inspector, they are going to have a different point of view. Now, this point of view can extend from turning up on site to, you know, sending you a nasty letter. They tend to get you on things, and I'm jerking around because I'm walking. They will get you on a couple of things. What we have here is an outdoor kitchen. I've shown this a few times. An outdoor kitchen isn't classed as a habitable space, and it's not classed as a shed. It falls under rules like carports, and yeah, it sort of falls outside the boundaries of most law. But if you actually put a tin shed up, it becomes what can be converted into or looked at as a habitable space. Now, habitable space brings you into the line, or brings you into the firing line of all the things that go with habitable space. Has to be, you have to be able to occupy it. You have to, if you occupy it, if you live there with your wood fire and whatever, well, they're going to say, well, this is a non-compliant habitable space. Now, obviously none of this waffle applies to people who cut a $400,000 check. Obviously, if you can cut that sort of check, you can buy all the systems, put everything in that's required, and yeah, all's honky-dory, and no one will probably bother you, because you'll have all the inspectors come through, take their chunk of change off you, and line the council coffers, and everything will be well. But if you dare to do something like pop a caravan on site, they'll hit you with little rules like, oh, you're only allowed to stay there 3 months of the year, and you know, it's not a permanent space, and what do you do with your waste, and look, you just get into all sorts of stuff. So anyone thinking of jumping off the grid, think carefully also about the politics behind this type of lifestyle. You don't want to get yourself in a position where you unload your last 20 grand into a minimum system, a minimum setup, and then turn around and find that somebody somewhere in your local shire decides that you're not good enough, and that's what they will do. Sorry for the camera jumping, but I am walking around. But yeah, you have to stop and think about how, well, we'll put it this way, how many rules or how many laws are you prepared to break with an open mind and a knowledge behind your open mind that this could cause you problems. Now, if you're in the middle of the state forest somewhere with a 100-acre block, you know, I've heard stories of people being on 1,000 acres in the middle of nowhere, and they'll be there for 3 years, and all of a sudden the bloody local shire will roll up, and these people generally will be living a sustainable lifestyle. That lifestyle may include things like unorthodox disposal of waste, whether it be a compost system or whatever. These days, even waste, take it from me, again a licensed plumber, unorthodox disposal of waste falls into health code regulation areas that they can get very narky about, very narky. So yeah, look, even if you think you're remote and you think you won't be spotted, have a good think before you cut that check to buy the property, that you're prepared potentially, if you're on a small budget and you want to jump off grid, to do things that feel better for you, and like we do, feel better for us. But don't think that everything you're going to do is going to comply, because it won't, more than likely, unless you've got a large checkbook. So look, that's all I'm going to say on this for the moment. It's just something else to think about. Think about the politics behind the decisions that you may make. Don't be, don't kid yourself into thinking that, oh, I'll just put my tin shed up, stick my water tank up, all will be well. That's not necessarily the case, alright? You have to think about the bigger picture, the longer term plan. They might not get you in 6 months, they might not get you in a year, but if they ever get you in their sights and you haven't complied, that will be in your face like a truck on an expressway. They tend to get very nasty, so beware and think about what you do. Like everything, a lot of my videos are just something to give you something to chew over, some information to chew over. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, right down to, you know, how to hold the screwdriver, stuff that you can go and learn how to hold your own fucking oh, I swore again. You can go and learn how to hold your own screwdriver. But there are some innate things that don't necessarily come to the forefront of your mind before you do this sort of a caper, that may be worth pondering. And one big one is all the political aspects of this type of thing. The effect on family and friends, the effect on shires and councils and departments, health department, building department. Have a good long think about that. And if you don't know anything about this stuff, I'm not going to rattle on for about the next 3 days about it. I just suggest you go and do the research. Look up off the grid in your area. See if anyone's doing it. Send them a message. See what trouble they've had. I would suggest you do not ring your local shire or council. They have an absolutely negative attitude to this. In the main, if you walk in there and say, I've got 400,000, I'm going to do it all legally, well fine, they'll shake you on the hand and they're happy to take your money off you, I assure you of that. But if you're going to do this in somewhat of what I describe as an agricultural manner, be very careful and don't expose yourself to the local authorities, not at least until you've given it a great deal of thought, or you may regret it. So anyway, this is Steve from offthegridinoz.com. Little bit of more hopefully helpful information. Again, just panning around. Like I said, I could show my ugly face, but you know, better just to pan around and you see how we live. We don't live in, you know, everything's sort of half tidy. Considering it's a bloody building site still, everything's pretty good here. We're getting there. This is 6 months in, so yeah, have a good think about the politics, just like you have to think about everything else. See our gold mines over there? All these diggings, they're all gold mines, just to change the subject. We have a couple of shafts, actual shafts down there. And we found a couple of grams here. We actually live on an old gold patch with our own creek, hence the bridge. People think, oh, what do you got a bridge for? Well, we have a creek or a wash or a gully or a seasonal creek, whatever you want to call it, that severs the entire 25 acres. So yeah, the bridge was a bit of a necessity. It's a bit of a 3 to 4 metre deep culvert the whole way through. Interesting to look at, great when there's water running in it, but a bitch to get across when it's inclement weather. So yeah, there's the bridge. Think about your politics, guys. It's not an incidental sort of a thing. It's probably as important as how How about we run this one? How big should I have my solar? It's probably a more important question than that, really. Anyway, signing off for the moment. Steve from offthegridinoz.com with one of his homemade bouncy cams. Yeah, anyway, they're not too bad. I see a lot of worse ones on the internet. I'm not here to give you definitive advice, just general advice, not advice, general introduction to this sort of lifestyle based on what we know, and we do not know everything. So anyway, you have a good day. Feel free to subscribe below if you like. We've only just started putting content up. That's why you'll notice there's not much in the way of views or things like that. We're relatively new at this, and that's why I've actually had to go and hit my phone with a large hard implement and swap down to my camera. Anyway, cheers from Steve and Kerry. Hope you have a good life. Hope you pick and make the right decisions, but have a good damn think. Catch you on the next one. Bye.